Welcome, dear one. Wherever you are, whatever time it may be, I invite you to rest now. Take a slow, deep breath in, and let it drift out gently, like a cloud dissolving into a twilight sky. You are safe here. You are held by the quiet of this moment. The day has done what it needed to do, and now all that remains is the soft hush of evening, and the gentle rhythm of your own breathing. Perhaps you might like to imagine others listening too, scattered across the world, some by the sea, some under mountain skies, some in the quiet hum of city lights, each one breathing, relaxing, letting go. Close your eyes, and allow the breath to settle itself, without effort. Feel your body supported, the weight of your shoulders melting downward, the muscles around your face loosening, the small thoughts of the day slipping away like leaves carried by a current. You are arriving in the only place you ever need to be, this moment. In Zen, there is a saying that the moon does not cling to the lake, yet the lake reflects it perfectly. It means that peace does not come from control, it comes from release. Tonight's story is called Among Falling Petals, The Moment Smiles. It is a story about surrender, about trusting the quiet intelligence of life, and remembering that when we stop trying to push the river, we discover that it has always been carrying us. Let the sound of your breath be your guide, in and out. Feel it flowing like wind through bamboo, soft and unhurried. With each breath, you drop deeper into stillness. The world outside grows distant, a gentle haze. You can almost hear the slow toll of a temple bell in the hills, its echo fading into the night air. Long ago, nestled in a small valley ringed by green mountains, there stood a humble Zen temple called Shinenji, the temple of the deep garden. Every spring, the courtyard filled with clouds of pale cherry blossoms. Their petals floated down in endless waves, gathering along the stone paths like soft snow. A young monk named Ryo lived there, devoted and disciplined, always eager to do things just right. Each dawn, before the sun crested the mountains, he swept the courtyard clean of fallen petals, wanting the temple to look pure and untouched before the morning chants began. One morning, while Ryo swept in silence, the old abbot, Master Kosen, stepped quietly into the courtyard. He stood for a long moment, watching the young monk work. Ryo's strokes were quick, intense, his face drawn tight with effort. Yet the wind kept blowing, scattering new petals as fast as he could clear them. Kosen finally asked, "Ryo, what are you doing?" The monk paused, startled. "I'm sweeping the petals, master," he said. "I want the courtyard to be clean before prayers." The old master smiled gently. "Clean," he said. "But the trees are still blooming." Ryo looked up, uncertain. "Yes, master, but if I don't sweep, the petals will keep falling." The abbot looked toward the trees, branches heavy with blossoms trembling in the morning breeze. "The petals fall because that is their nature," he said. "The wind moves, and they dance. You sweep, and they return. You cannot stop the falling, Ryo. You can only tire yourself trying." The young monk hesitated, lowering his broom. "Then what should I do?" he asked quietly. The old man's eyes softened. "Sweep when you sweep," he said. "Rest when you rest. But do not fight the petals. Let them teach you how to fall." With that, he turned and walked away, his robes whispering against the stones. Ryo stood still for a long while. The wind stirred again, and petals drifted down, landing gently on his hands and the broom he held. Slowly, he set the broom aside. He sat down on the path and simply watched, the blossoms tumbling through the air, spinning, settling, shimmering in the first light of dawn. And as he watched, a strange peace filled his chest, as if he too were one of those petals, carried by something far larger than himself. From that day forward, he swept the courtyard less often. He let the blossoms lie where they fell, and visitors to the temple would sometimes remark on the beauty of the path, covered in soft pink and white, glowing faintly in the morning light. And Ryo would smile, knowing that the beauty was never in the sweeping, but in the falling. The petals fall, the wind moves, and life unfolds whether or not we try to control it. So often we sweep and sweep, chasing perfection, when the world is already perfect in its impermanence. The moment you stop resisting the falling petals, something inside you begins to rest. That is the beginning of surrender, not giving up, but giving in to the truth of what is. Far from the temple, along a river wrapped in mist, lived an old fisherman named Daigo. Every morning before dawn, he pushed his small wooden boat into the quiet current, casting his net with practiced hands. For many years, this was his rhythm: water, wind, the slow dance of patience. But one season, the rains did not come. The river shrank to a thread of its former self, and each day Daigo pulled in an empty net. His neighbors complained bitterly. Some abandoned their homes, seeking new work in the towns beyond the hills. But Daigo stayed. He still rose before sunrise, paddled to the same bend in the river, and sat in silence, his net folded beside him. One morning, a traveler passing by called out to him. "Old man," he said, "why do you keep casting your net into an empty river?" Daigo lifted his eyes. They were calm, like weathered stones beneath clear water. "Because," he said, "this is where the river has brought me." The traveler frowned. "But there are no fish left here," he said. Daigo smiled faintly. "Perhaps not today," he replied. "But the river is not only what I see now. It is what it was, and what it will become. The fish may return, or they may not. But I have learned that if I fight the river, I lose twice, once to the fish and again to myself." The traveler had no reply. He shook his head and continued down the path, while Daigo sat alone, listening to the faint whisper of the current. He closed his eyes and breathed in the scent of water and mud, and for the first time in many days, he felt full. A week later, the rains came. The river swelled again, and his nets grew heavy with fish. But Daigo only nodded, as if to an old friend returning home after a long journey. To trust the river is to trust that life moves even when it seems still. There are seasons of fullness, and seasons of emptiness. To resist one is to lose both, but to rest in them, that is true freedom. Now, let the rhythm of your breath match the rhythm of the river. Feel the gentle in and out, like the water's slow rise and fall. The moon is climbing higher now in our story's sky, casting silver light across the temple roofs and quiet water. Everything glows softly, and everything is enough. In a small village surrounded by fields of gold and green, a woman named Sana tended her garden. Each morning before sunrise, she would kneel in the soil, pressing her palms to the earth in gratitude. The garden was her companion, her teacher, her prayer. But one year, a great storm swept through the valley. The wind tore at the trees, and the rain flooded her land. When the storm passed, her garden was ruined, the neat rows of vegetables washed away, the blossoms flattened, the soil turned to mud. For days, she sat by the window, staring at the wreckage, feeling the ache of loss. One morning, she saw a small sprout emerging through the mud, a single green shoot, fragile but alive. She went outside and knelt beside it. "You're still here," she whispered. The tiny plant bent slightly in the breeze, as if nodding. Sana began to weep, not from sorrow, but from a kind of release. She realized that the garden had not died, it had simply changed form. So she began again. Not with plans, not with perfection, but with curiosity. She let the wind scatter the seeds where it wished. And as weeks passed, new flowers bloomed in unexpected places, wild ones, colors she had never planted before. Her garden became less orderly, but more alive than it had ever been. People in the village would stop by to admire it, calling it the garden that grows with the wind. Sana only smiled. She knew now that what is lost is not always gone. Sometimes it returns in a new form, softer and truer. And as you listen, perhaps you can feel something like that within yourself, a softening, a quiet renewal. All the places where you once tried to control, to hold tightly, they too can bloom again when touched by surrender. Now the night deepens. The stars are countless above the valley. The wind has grown still, and even the trees seem to be listening. You are breathing in rhythm with the earth itself. Each breath a wave. Each wave a whisper. There is nothing to fix. Nothing to do. Peace isn't found by changing the world. It's discovered by accepting this moment exactly as it is. The petals are still falling, softly, endlessly, and somewhere among them, the the moment smiles. And so the night drifts onward, like a tide without beginning or end. The world outside grows quieter with every breath you take. You can almost feel the hush of the forest around the temple, the slow, even breathing of the trees, the faint chirp of a night bird, the low sigh of wind moving through bamboo. Everything is alive, and yet so still. Somewhere, water trickles over stones, soft as a whisper. Each sound rises, then fades, reminding you that all things come and go, appearing for a time, and then dissolving back into silence. As you rest here, in this gentle moment, allow your mind to settle like dust upon still water. Let every thought that arises, plans, memories, the day's small worries, drift past like fallen petals upon a stream. You don't need to push them away or hold them close. You can simply watch them float. In watching, you begin to understand that peace is not the absence of movement, but the acceptance of it. There was once a monk named Ren, who traveled from temple to temple searching for enlightenment. He carried little with him: a robe, a begging bowl, and a single scroll on which he had written all the teachings he had studied. He believed that within those words lay the key to awakening. For years he walked, meditated, and read, yet peace remained just beyond his reach. One evening, he stopped to rest beside a quiet lake. The air was cool, and the moon hung low, reflected perfectly in the still water. Ren sat upon a rock and unrolled his scroll to study once more. But as he leaned forward, a breeze stirred, and the parchment slipped from his hands. It fluttered once, twice, and then fell into the lake, the ink dissolving instantly. He reached out, but the scroll was already sinking beneath the surface. For a long time, he sat in shock, staring at the ripples fading into stillness. Everything he had learned, everything he thought he needed, was gone. Then he noticed the moon's reflection trembling on the water. The same ripples that had swallowed his scroll now shimmered with light. In that moment, he laughed, softly at first, then deeply, freely. "So this is it," he whispered. "This is what I was searching for." He bowed to the lake and continued his journey, carrying nothing but his breath and his steps. Wherever he went after that, he found the same moon reflected in every puddle, every cup of tea, every eye he met. Sometimes the teachings we hold most tightly are the very things that keep us from seeing. The more we cling, the more the water stirs. But when we let go, clarity returns by itself. Like the moon upon the lake, truth appears when we stop trying to grasp it. The breath moves gently in your chest, in and out. The mind grows quiet, and stillness opens like a flower under moonlight. You may notice your thoughts growing softer now, not disappearing, but becoming distant, dreamlike. You are drifting upon your own breath, floating gently between waking and rest. Far from the lake, beyond the hills, there was a small mountain village where a humble potter named June made simple bowls of clay. His hands were steady, his work honest. But one day, as he fired his pots, the kiln cracked. The heat escaped unevenly, and all his bowls shattered. June fell to his knees in despair. Everything he had worked for, all his careful craft, lay in pieces on the ground. For many weeks, he could not bring himself to make more. Then one evening, as he swept the shards into a basket, he noticed how beautiful they were in the fading light. The broken edges caught the sunset's glow, each fragment shining like gold. Something stirred within him, a quiet recognition. He gathered the fragments and began to rejoin them, using a golden resin made from tree sap and dusted powder. When he was done, the bowls were whole again, but traced with shimmering veins where they had once been broken. People from nearby villages came to see them. They called them kintsugi, golden joinery, and soon they became sought after, not because they were perfect, but because they were real. June never tried to hide the cracks again. He would say to those who asked, "The bowl is stronger where it has been broken." And so are we. Your breath is that golden resin, the joining thread that holds each moment together. No matter how the day has cracked or scattered, each inhale, each exhale, mends it gently, quietly, until only wholeness remains. Now imagine the moonlight soft upon your skin, the cool air wrapping you in calm. You are lying beneath an open sky. The stars are countless above you, each one shining without effort. The world is vast, yet intimate. You are both the sky and the breath within it. There was once an old teacher named Mura who lived by the sea. He spent his days sitting on a weathered rock, watching the tides. His students often came to him with questions. "Master," one asked one morning, "how can I find peace when the world is always changing?" The teacher smiled and pointed to the horizon. "Do you see the waves?" he asked. "They rise, and they fall. Sometimes the sea is calm, sometimes rough. Yet the water beneath is always the same. Your mind is the waves. Your awareness is the sea." The student frowned. "But how do I stay in the depth when the waves are high?" The old teacher picked up a small stone and dropped it into the water. "You do not stay," he said. "You sink." The student bowed, understanding that peace was not something to hold on to, but to fall into, like a stone sinking quietly into stillness. And so, as you listen now, feel yourself sinking gently beneath the surface of thought, into the depth of awareness that has always been here. You are the still sea beneath the waves. You are the silence between sounds. You are the pause between each breath. Let go. Let everything drift. You do not need to guide the story or even stay awake for it. The words can wash over you like rain upon leaves, like a lullaby carried on the wind. In the temple valley, dawn will come again. The blossoms will fall, the river will flow, the garden will grow wild, the fisherman will cast his net. And somewhere in that endless motion, the moment will smile once more, soft, patient, eternal. Rest now. Feel yourself breathing with the whole universe, in and out. The breath of mountains, the breath of stars, the breath of your own heart. All of it one. You are home. You are safe. You are free. Sleep deeply as the petals fall. The night has grown quieter still, and even the wind seems to pause between its sighs. The moon has drifted westward, and the stars shimmer above the sleeping world, patient and ancient. You too are part of this stillness now, your breath rising and falling like the slow rhythm of waves upon an unseen shore. The story continues not as something apart from you, but as something within you, the quiet unfolding of a dream that knows itself. Far away, beyond the temple and the river, there was once a narrow mountain path, winding through forests of pine and cedar. Travelers rarely passed there, for the road was steep and sometimes hidden by mist. But those who did often spoke of a small hermitage perched on a ledge above the clouds. Its roof was moss-covered, its garden wild with wind-shaped stones. There lived an old woman named Aya, known to the villagers below as the Keeper of the Clouds. No one knew her age. Some said she had lived on the mountain for 100 years. She rarely came down to the valley. Her only company was the sky, her daily practice, to watch the shifting forms of clouds. She said they taught her everything she needed to know. One summer, a young man named Jiro climbed the mountain to find her. His heart was restless, his thoughts tangled with worry. He had lost his family's home in a fire, and though his friends had helped him rebuild, he could not sleep. He feared losing again what he loved. When he reached the hermitage, Aya was sitting on a smooth rock, watching clouds drift over the peaks. "I've come for peace," Jiro said, bowing. "My heart feels like a bird trapped in a storm." Aya smiled, her eyes soft as the sky. "Then watch with me," she said, patting the stone beside her. He sat, and for a while they said nothing. The clouds moved slowly, turning from white to gold to shadow as the day waned. "They never stop changing," Jiro murmured. "They never hold their shape." The old woman nodded. "And yet," she said, "have you ever seen one fall?" Jiro frowned. "No, they just become something else, rain, mist, light." Aya's gaze lingered on the horizon. "So it is with all things," she said. "The house you lost, the people you love, even the self you call I. They are all clouds passing through the wide sky of being. Grief is only the wish for clouds to stay the same." The young man sat silently, tears slipping down his cheeks. But they felt lighter than before, like rain that nourishes the soil. When he left the mountain, his steps were slow and easy. Each time a cloud drifted overhead, he smiled, remembering that nothing he lost was ever truly gone, only transformed. In time, he built a small shrine beside the river and carved upon it a single word: flow. The breath moves through you now like that river, steady, natural, without demand. You do not need to guide it. It knows the way. All of life knows the way. The trees grow without thinking, the stars burn without plan, and you, too, are part of that same vast rhythm. In another time, another place, a king once sought counsel from a quiet monk who lived near his palace. The king was known for his restlessness. Even in peace, he feared war. Even in plenty, he feared loss. One evening, he invited the monk to dine, hoping for advice. As they ate, the monk said little, only smiled. Finally the king grew impatient. "Tell me, wise one," he said, "how can I rule my kingdom without fear? I have armies, walls, wealth, yet still I worry. How can I find peace?" The monk placed his chopsticks down and gestured to a candle flickering on the table between them. "Do you see the flame, your majesty?" he asked. "Yes," said the king. "It gives light, yet trembles with every breath of air," said the monk. "You cannot order it to be still, but close the window, and the room grows dark. Do you see? Peace is not found by shutting out the wind, but by allowing the flame to dance." The king sat quietly, watching the candle flicker and steady again. Something in him softened. He realized that his fear was only the wind, and his mind, the trembling flame. From that night onward, he ruled with a gentler hand. The candle burns in all of us, the small, bright awareness that lives beneath thought. It doesn't need to control the air around it. It simply flickers, glows, and endures. You are that flame. You are the stillness in which it shines. Now, imagine that the moonlight has grown faint, replaced by the first pale hues of dawn. The world is stirring, though gently, as if waking from a long dream. The petals that fell during the night now rest upon the ground, forming a quiet carpet of color. A breeze stirs them, lifting a few into the air, weightless, free. Each petal's journey is effortless. It doesn't choose where to land. It doesn't resist the wind. It simply drifts, and in its drifting, there is grace. You too are among these petals, floating through your own life, sometimes rising, sometimes falling, always carried by the same invisible breath that moves the stars. Somewhere in the distance, the temple bell sounds again, one deep note, lingering like a memory that isn't quite a memory, but something more timeless. The sound travels across the valley, over the river, past the fields, and up into the mountains. It touches the garden, the fisherman, the potter, the monk, the king, and finally, you. It says only this: be still. You are already home. Let the stillness reach every corner of your being now. Feel the slow weight of your body sinking deeper into rest. The day's stories have ended, and the night's dreaming has begun. You don't need to think. You don't need to follow. The story will carry itself. The breath will carry you. And as the last petal drifts to the ground, the moment smiles once more. Not because it has changed, but because you have stopped trying to change it. Everything, just as it is enough. Sleep now, gently, peacefully, completely. The petals fall. The river flows. The stars watch over you in silence. The world turns softly beneath your resting breath. Among falling petals, the moment smiles. The night gives way to the soft silver of dawn. The air is cool, filled with the hush that comes before the birds begin to sing. Somewhere in the valley, mist rises from the river like breath, curling through bamboo and over sleeping rooftops. The petals that fell through the night shimmer faintly with dew, each one a tiny mirror for the morning light. And there you are, somewhere in that quiet world, neither fully awake nor asleep, floating in that tender space where dreams and stillness meet. Let yourself drift here. Feel how the world begins again, not suddenly, but gently, like a single note of flute music unfolding into silence. Everything renews itself without effort. Even the heart, weary from all its longing, begins to open once more. You don't need to do anything. The morning knows how to arrive. Once, a young novice named Taro asked his teacher, "Master, how do I find peace?" The teacher was tending a small fire at the time. He looked up and said, "Go outside and listen to the dawn." Taro was confused. "The dawn?" he asked. "What wisdom does it hold?" "Go and see," said the master. So Taro went outside. The world was wrapped in gray mist. He heard no sound but the soft rustle of wind through trees and the distant murmur of water. After a while, the silence grew so deep it seemed to hum. Then, from somewhere far away, a single bird began to sing. Just one note at first, clear and pure. Then another joined, and another, until the valley was filled with the gentle chorus of waking life. Taro stood there listening, feeling his chest loosen, his breath grow easy. When he returned, the master was still by the fire. "Did the dawn teach you?" he asked. Taro bowed. "Yes," he said. "It taught me that peace doesn't come when I search for it. It comes when I'm quiet enough to hear it." The teacher smiled and poured him tea. "Then drink," he said. "The dawn sings even now. And so it does, always. Even as you rest here, there is a dawn unfolding somewhere. Perhaps it's in your own heart." The air grows warmer, and in the garden, a small stream begins to glisten. A bee drifts lazily between blossoms. The petals continue to fall, slow as snowflakes, soft as breath. Nothing rushes. Nothing resists. In a nearby village, there was a craftsman named Ito who made paper from mulberry bark. Every morning he soaked the fibers in clear mountain water, pressing and lifting, until the pulp became fine as silk. One day, a traveler came to watch him work. She asked, "Why do you use such pure water for such a simple thing as paper?" Ito smiled. "Because clarity is contagious," he said. "The paper holds the calmness of the water, and those who write upon it can feel it." The traveler nodded thoughtfully. "And what if the water is muddy?" "Then I wait," Ito replied. "The mud will settle by itself." In that moment, the traveler understood something she had not before, that stillness is not something we make, it is what remains when we stop stirring the water. As you listen now, imagine your thoughts like those ripples in a basin of clear water. Each breath settles them a little more. Each exhale releases what you no longer need to hold. With time, the surface becomes smooth, reflecting the sky above it, simple, open, infinite. There is no need to rush. There is nowhere else to be. The story continues without edges, like mist that moves from valley to valley, becoming what it touches. Somewhere, the old fisherman Daigo is rowing once more, the oars creaking softly. The potter Jun sits before his wheel, his hands covered in clay and sunlight. The woman Sana tends her wild garden, smiling at the tiny shoots that emerge between stones. And beneath the cherry trees, Monk Rio sweeps not to clear the petals, but to feel their softness against the ground. Everything returns, yet everything is new. The same wind moves through each life, changing form, carrying seeds, shaping clouds, and whispering through your breath. This, too, is the teaching of surrender, that we are all expressions of one movement, one great unfolding that asks only that we trust it. Now, the sun begins to rise above the horizon. Its light spills over the hills, touching the temple roofs, the river's skin, the garden paths. Every surface glows. Every sound feels round and full. The petals seem almost to shimmer from within, as though lit by their own quiet joy. The master Kasen steps into the courtyard once more. He pauses, watching Rio sweep. The young monk's strokes are slow, unhurried, more like breathing than working. The abbot nods approvingly. "You've learned well," he says. Rio looks up and smiles. "No, master," he replies. "The petals have learned me." Kasen chuckles. "Then you are truly awake." And together, they stand in silence, the breeze moving gently through the flowering branches, the air filled with the faint perfume of renewal. Now, bring your awareness back to your own breath. Feel the rise and fall, the same rhythm that moves through rivers, wind, and petals. This is life. Effortless, continuous, vast. Every breath is a chance to begin again, and every exhale is a chance to let go. As you drift deeper towards sleep, let the world grow soft around you. The edges blur, the thoughts fade, the mind grows spacious. You are floating in the same stillness that holds all things. The stories, the images, the voices, they dissolve into quiet. Somewhere, a final petal loosens from its branch and falls. It does not hurry. It does not resist. It turns slowly, gracefully, until it comes to rest upon the earth. And in that simple motion, everything is complete. Among falling petals, the moment smiles, and so do you. Rest, gentle soul. Drift where the breath carries you. The world will keep turning. The petals will keep falling. And peace, like dawn, will always find its way back to you. The morning ripens slowly, gold deepening into amber, the air warm and alive with quiet motion. Bees hum softly through the blossoms. A breeze stirs the branches, and for a moment, sunlight filters through in 100 shifting shapes, light dancing with shadow, life playing with itself. The temple bell rings again, one long note, echoing through the valley like the breath of the earth itself. It rolls through air, through the bamboo, through the distant villages, and eventually into the wide open sky. Rio stands in the courtyard, his broom resting at his side. The air is fragrant with fallen petals. He closes his eyes and breathes. Each inhale feels like a prayer, each exhale a release. The world is simple again. The petals fall, the river flows, the sun rises, nothing is missing. He remembers the abbot's words, sweep when you sweep, rest when you rest. And he understands now that each act, done in presence, is enough. There is no need to seek beyond this. Far below, in the village by the river, the old fisherman Daigo lifts his nets once more. The fish glisten like silver ribbons in the morning light. He smiles, grateful, though not surprised. The river has returned to fullness, as rivers always do. He whispers a quiet thank you, not to the fish, not to the rain, but to the great, unseen rhythm that carried them all. In another corner of the valley, Sanan kneels among her garden's new blossoms. Where once the storm had torn everything apart, now wildflowers rise in colors she never imagined. Purples, whites, golds. She touches them gently, not as a gardener tending her work, but as a friend greeting old companions. The wind moves through her hair, and she laughs softly. She knows now that loss was only another form of growth. And far from all these, beyond the fields and hills, the potter June sits at his wheel again. His hands are steady, slow, sure. The clay spins beneath his fingers, soft as breath. The golden cracks in his old bowls catch the sunlight, and the light seems to smile through them. He thinks of the brokenness that once brought him sorrow, and how it became beauty instead. In his heart, he thanks the fire that once shattered his work, for without it, he would never have learned to mend with gold. Everywhere across the valley, the same peace unfolds, not loud, not grand, but quiet and complete. The petals fall on roofs, on stones, on rivers and faces and empty bowls. They do not choose where to land. And in that simple surrender, they bless everything they touch. Let your breath mirror that same surrender now. Feel the soft rhythm of life moving through you, steady, endless, gentle. There's no effort required, no goal to reach. You are already in the flow. Each breath carries you deeper into it, like a leaf floating downriver. You don't need to swim or steer. The river knows where it's going. There was once a traveler who came to a Zen master and asked, "How do I learn to trust life when I do not know where it is leading me?" The master poured tea into the traveler's cup until it was full, and then kept pouring, letting the tea overflow onto the table. The traveler cried out, "Stop! It's spilling over." The master smiled. "You see, you already trust. You trusted your voice to warn me. You trusted your heart to speak. Trust is not something you find. It's what you already are." The traveler blinked, confused, then slowly began to laugh. The tea spread across the table, steam rising in thin, delicate curls. He watched it cool, watched it disappear, and realized that his life, too, was like the tea, always pouring, always flowing, always enough. Trust is not knowing what will happen next. Trust is knowing that whatever happens, you will meet it fully. And you will breathe through it, as you breathe now, calm, open, whole. The sun has risen fully above the valley now. The mist has lifted, revealing a world washed clean and new. You can hear the low hum of life beginning again, voices, footsteps, birdsong. Yet beneath all the sound, there is stillness, the same stillness that cradled the night. It has never gone anywhere. It only changes shape. In that stillness, forgiveness blooms. Not the kind of forgiveness that struggles to let go, but the quiet kind that understands there was never anything to hold in the first place. The river does not resent the stones that shaped it. The trees do not begrudge the wind that bends them. Everything moves together, giving and receiving, shaping and being shaped. Once, a monk asked his teacher, "How do I forgive those who have hurt me?" The teacher said, "Look at the bamboo. When the wind pushes it, does it hold a grudge?" The monk watched as the stalks swayed, bowed, and then returned to their upright grace. "No," he said softly. The teacher smiled. "Then learn from the bamboo. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is simply the act of unbending, of returning to uprightness after the wind has passed. You too can do this. You already are. Every breath you take is a small act of forgiveness, the body's way of saying, it's okay. Let's begin again." The petals continue to drift through the morning air. Each one turns and glides, landing where it must. They do not mourn the branch they left. They do not worry where they'll fall. And yet, their fall makes the world beautiful. That is the art of surrender, to let go so completely that even falling becomes flight. Now, let that image rest in your heart. Feel the space behind your breath, vast, soft, endless. Within that space, everything is forgiven, everything is free. You do not need to reach for anything anymore. The moment has already arrived. It has been here all along, waiting patiently beneath the noise of the mind. The bell sounds one last time, its echo fading through the valley. Rio puts away his broom. The fisherman pulls in his nets. The potter sets his bowl in the sun. The woman lays her hand upon the soil. And you drift quietly between worlds, the waking and the dreaming, the doing and the being. There is nothing left to fix. Nothing left to prove. Only the quiet rhythm of the breath, moving through petals, through clouds, through stars, through you. The petals fall, and the moment smiles. The story, the silence, the stillness, they are all the same. You are the river flowing. You are the petal falling. You are the light returning. Rest, dear one. Trust the flow. Everything, as it is already home. The day softens once more, the golden light drawing long, tender shadows across the ground. The air grows hushed, filled with the gentle hum of evening insects and the sigh of wind weaving through tall grass. The petals that drifted through morning and noon now lie scattered in quiet patterns upon the earth, a soft blanket of color fading into dusk. The sky begins to shift, from blue to rose to the deepening calm of indigo. Everything breathes slower now. The world exhales. In the temple courtyard, Monk Rio sits upon the wooden steps, watching the first lanterns being lit along the paths. The abbot passes him a cup of tea, its surface glimmering with the reflection of the twilight sky. They drink in silence. The sound of water trickling through bamboo tubes fills the spaces between thoughts. There is no hurry for words. No need to fill the quiet. After a long pause, Rio speaks softly. "Master, the petals have all fallen. Tomorrow, the trees will be bare." The old man smiles, his eyes half closed. "And the branches will rest. That is their way. But do they miss their blossoms?" Rio asks, his gaze lingering on the drifting pink that still circles in the breeze. The master sets down his cup. They do not miss. They simply prepare. What falls nourishes what will bloom again. The tree does not cling to its beauty, for it knows the root still holds the memory of spring. Rio nods, and in that moment, he feels something release inside him, a loosening, a space where clinging had once lived. He watches a petal land on the surface of his tea. It floats there, turning slowly. He does not remove it. He lets it drift. The master watches too and smiles. "The moment smiles with you," he says. And in the deepening dusk, they sit, two quiet figures, drinking tea, listening to the day fade into stillness. Down in the valley, the fisherman Daigo ties his boat to the dock. The sky above the water burns faintly with the last light of the sun. He feels the coolness of evening settle on his shoulders and breathes deeply, the air thick with salt and the scent of pine. He remembers the old days when he fought against the tides, desperate to control what could not be controlled. Now, he lets the waves rock the boat beneath him, each movement a lullaby. He whispers to the river, "You have carried me far, and I have learned not to row against you." The river, in its eternal patience, answers with a soft ripple that kisses the side of his boat. He smiles, his eyes closing as he rests his head against the wood. The river and the man breathe together, one long, endless motion. In the hills beyond, Sana walks her garden one last time before night. The moon has begun to rise, silver and still, casting her flowers in a quiet glow. She kneels and runs her fingers through the soil, the same earth that once held her grief, now alive with gentle color. She feels how it pulses with warmth, how it continues its slow, mysterious work. "Thank you," she whispers, not sure if she's speaking to the flowers, the earth, or the life that has always guided her. But it doesn't matter. The night receives every word, carrying it like a leaf upon the wind. And beyond the hills, in the small pottery hut, June finishes his day's work. A new bowl sits before him, smooth, simple, perfect in its quiet imperfection. He traces a faint line along its side, where he will one day mend it with gold when it breaks. He knows it will, and he is not afraid. He smiles at the thought, setting the bowl beside the others, each one a small testament to fragility and grace. He lights a single candle and watches the flame dance in the soft current of night air. The golden light trembles against the wall, illuminating cracks filled with gold and shadows shaped like mountains. He murmurs to himself, "Each flaw is a window for the light." Then he bows his head and lets the candle burn. In every corner of the valley, the world rests. Even the wind quiets its voice, moving now like breath, soft, slow, rhythmic. The stars begin to emerge one by one, scattered like seeds across the dark sky. The moon hangs steady, its reflection shimmering in the stillness of ponds and streams. And above it all, a great silence blooms. Not the silence of emptiness, but of completeness. The hush of everything being exactly as it is meant to be. Breathe now, slowly. Feel the weight of the day dissolve into this stillness. Each inhale draws in peace. Each exhale releases the burden of control. The body softens. The mind unwinds. You are floating, effortless, among the petals of the moment, each one drifting, each one perfect in its surrender. There is no need to try. No need to hold on. Life is carrying you, just as it carries rivers to the sea and clouds to the mountains. You are part of the same eternal motion. The same gentle smile of existence touches you now. In the temple, the lanterns flicker like stars brought down to earth. Monk Rio has gone to his small sleeping room. He lies on his mat, listening to the quiet creak of wood, the occasional song of night insects, the distant whisper of wind through bamboo. His eyes close. He imagines the tree above, its branches bare now, but alive, full of unseen life, waiting patiently for the next spring. He feels himself as that tree, at rest, yet full of quiet promise. No need to rush to bloom again. No need to reach for what will come naturally, when the time is kind. Outside, a single petal, the last of the season, loosens from its branch. It drifts through the still night air, turning in slow circles. It passes the temple eaves, the stone lantern, the small pond below. Then, at last, it comes to rest on the surface of the water, where the moon's reflection waits to greet it. The water ripples once, and then stills. The petal floats in perfect peace. And so, too, may you. You have listened to the story of falling petals, of rivers and winds, of lives woven into the soft fabric of impermanence. You have walked with monks and fishermen, potters and gardeners, each of them showing you, in their simple ways, how to let go, how to trust, how to find peace in what is. Let these stories fade now into the hush of night. Let them dissolve like mist returning to air. There is nothing to remember, nothing to hold. Only the deep knowing that peace is already here, waiting quietly beneath your breath. In the darkness, the petals rest upon the ground. The river flows unseen. The stars move slowly across the sky. And the moment, eternal, smiling, holds you. You are safe. You are still. You are home. Sleep now, dear one. Drift among the falling petals. The world breathes with you, and in every breath, the universe whispers the same truth. Peace isn't found by changing the world, it's discovered by accepting this moment as it is. The petals fall, the moon watches, and the moment smiles. Rest deeply. Dream gently. And when you wake, may your heart be as light as the falling petals, and as infinite as the sky that carries them. Dawn returns like a memory, tender and slow, gliding along the horizon with a quiet grace. The night has released its final stars, drawing them softly back into the light. Mist curls once more over the valley, gathering between the roots of trees and drifting over the still river. Everything breathes in unison, the mountains, the fields, the sleeping village, even the silent petals resting upon the earth. You are still here, floating in that space between dream and waking, where the mind is quiet and the heart is open. The light touches your eyelids like a whisper, gentle and warm. There is no need to move yet. The body knows how to wake slowly, like a flower unfurling its petals to the morning sun. The temple stands wrapped in gold and silver light. The air smells faintly of incense and rain. The abbot rises before the bell, as he always does, his movements unhurried, his breath steady and deep. He pours water into a wooden basin and watches the ripples form and fade. For a long time, he simply observes how each movement disturbs the surface, how each wave returns to stillness. Then he smiles. This is the rhythm of life, he thinks. Disturbance and return. Effort and peace. Rio awakens too, his dreams still clinging lightly around him like silk. He stretches, breathes, and listens. Somewhere outside, a bird sings its first morning note. The sound is soft, but it seems to open something vast within him. He steps outside, barefoot upon the wooden veranda, and looks toward the eastern hills. The world is glowing, not with brilliance, but with calm. He picks up his broom again, though there are no petals left to sweep. Still, he begins. The motion is the same, gentle, rhythmic, kind. It is not about what must be cleared, but how the clearing feels. Each stroke of the broom is a breath, and with each breath, the mind returns home. As he sweeps, the abbot joins him. There are no petals today, Cossin says, his voice soft as wind through reeds. Rio smiles faintly. Then I sweep the space where they were. The abbot nods. The petals are gone, but their peace remains. That is how beauty lives on, not in form, but in the quiet it leaves behind. They sweep together for a time, not speaking, until the morning bell rings. Its echo drifts far, over the hills and down to the valley where life stirs anew. The fisherman Daigo opens his eyes to the glow of sunrise upon the water. His nets rest beside him, empty for now, but he feels no need to hurry. The tide moves as it always does. He stretches his arms, breathes deeply, and feels the air fill his chest with calm. For a moment, he sits perfectly still, watching the light shimmer across the waves. "Thank you," he whispers again, not to anyone in particular, but to the rhythm itself. The river answers with a soft ripple, and that is enough. In her garden, Sanan kneels beside the blossoms, now kissed with dew. She cups one flower gently in her hands, marveling at how the light passes through its thin petals. It will fade, she knows. All things do. Yet in its briefness lies its beauty. I used to try to make things last, she murmurs. Now, I just thank them for arriving. She breathes, slow and deep, and lets that thought sink into the soil. The potter June opens his shutters, letting sunlight spill across his workshop. The bowls gleam, each one imperfect, each one alive. He runs his hand across a golden seam and feels how smooth it has become with time. Once, that line was a wound, sharp and fragile. Now it is a thread of light. Perhaps, he says softly, the cracks were always meant to shine. The world awakens gently, layer by layer. Birds fill the trees with song. The river glows silver under the newborn sun. The petals on the ground begin to dry, curling slightly, their color deepening into soft shades of rose and brown. They will soon return to the earth that once held them, becoming food for the roots that will bloom again. And in that endless turning, there is no sorrow, no fear. Only the vast, calm breath of life, moving through all things. As you listen, let yourself drift with that same rhythm. Feel how every breath rises like morning light and falls like evening shadow. You are not separate from this rhythm. You are made of it. The air that enters your lungs has traveled across oceans and mountains, through forests and rivers, through countless lives before you. With every breath, the universe breathes with you. There was once a student who came to a teacher and said, "Master, I am afraid to let go. What if I lose everything?" The teacher smiled gently. "Open your hand," he said. The student did. "What do you see?" "Nothing," the student replied. The teacher nodded. And yet, in that emptiness, the wind can pass through. The sunlight can fall. The rain can fill it. That is how life enters you, not when you cling, but when you open. The student looked at his hand for a long time. Then he turned his palm upward, and a single falling petal landed upon it. He began to laugh, softly at first, then freely, as the petal trembled in the air's light breath. It is always like this. The more we release, the more we are given. Now, as the morning expands, the air hums with quiet life. The world feels awake, yet peaceful, vibrant, yet still. The temple bell rings once more, not as a call to action, but as a song of gratitude. Rio bows deeply toward the rising sun, his broom resting at his side. "Thank you," he whispers, echoing Daigo, Sana, June, and all the others whose hearts have learned the same lesson, that control is only an illusion, and surrender is the beginning of peace. The master watches him and nods. When the heart bows, he says, the universe bows with it. And so it does. The petals have fallen. The branches are bare. But the moment smiles still, infinite and serene. As you rest here, listening, breathing, the same truth blooms quietly within you. You are not apart from this story. You are part of its unfolding, a single breath among endless breaths, a single petal among countless petals, falling gently into the vastness of now. Let yourself rest in that. No need to think. No need to do. Simply be. The light grows stronger, but it feels soft, like silk against the skin. The air is clear and pure. Somewhere in the distance, the river sings, its voice joining the wind, the birds, the trees. Everything is whole. Everything is one. You can feel the earth beneath you, steady and kind. You can feel the breath within you, endless and gentle. You can feel the peace that has been here all along, waiting for you to notice it. Stay here for as long as you like. There is nowhere else to go, nothing left undone. The story continues without effort, as all things do. Among falling petals, the moment smiles. And so do you. You have awakened into the heart of surrender, where release becomes renewal, and letting go reveals the quiet joy of simply being. Breathe once more, deeply. Feel how the air moves through you, connecting you to everything that lives and breathes and changes. The morning opens wide. The world glows. The petals rest, and the river flows. Peace, now, and always. Shoo. The world is quiet again. Let the breath slow. Let the thoughts dissolve, like mist rising from the river at dawn. You are safe here, wrapped in the stillness that holds everything. There is nothing to fix, nothing to chase, nothing to understand. Only this, the sound of your own breathing, soft and steady, the body floating lightly in its own rhythm. Imagine yourself lying beneath the old cherry tree from our story, the one that watched its blossoms fall without sorrow. The grass beneath you is cool, the air faintly scented with the sweetness of petals and earth. Above, the branches stretch like open hands, tracing gentle shapes against a pale morning sky. Sunlight flickers between the leaves, touching your face, your shoulders, your chest, warm and kind, never too bright. A single petal drifts down through the air and lands upon your heart. You can feel its weight, barely there, as light as breath itself. It reminds you of all the moments you've tried to hold too tightly, all the things you thought you needed to control. The petal does not ask you to let go. It simply rests there, and in its stillness, you understand. Letting go is not an act of effort, but of trust. Trust that the world knows how to turn. Trust that rivers know their way to the sea. Trust that even when the night feels long, the dawn will come again. The abbot's voice drifts softly through memory, calm as wind through bamboo. Peace isn't found by changing the world, it's discovered by accepting this moment as it is. Let those words ripple gently through your heart. Feel how they settle there, like sunlight sinking through water. They do not need to be analyzed. They only need to be felt. The more you rest in the moment, the more it opens, like the slow bloom of a lotus in still water. There's no struggle, no need to hurry. Life unfolds at the pace of breath. Now, take a long, slow inhale. Feel the air enter through your nose, cool and clear. Hold it for a moment, letting the body fill with calm. Then exhale gently, through the mouth, releasing any trace of tension. Again, inhale, soft and deep, as if drawing in light itself. Exhale, letting everything fall away. The breeze moves through the trees above you, each leaf whispering secrets of patience, of time, of grace. Somewhere nearby, a stream murmurs against smooth stones, a song of flowing and returning. You are listening not with the ears, but with the whole of yourself. The world is speaking in a language older than words. You are not apart from it. You are made of the same quiet intelligence that moves clouds and turns the seasons. You are the river. You are the petal. You are the sky that holds them both. Now, imagine the valley once more. The temple bells have finished their morning ringing. The monks have gone to their meditation hall. The fishermen prepare their boats, and the potters, their clay. The village hums softly, alive with ordinary miracles. Every breath, every motion, every tiny act of care is part of the same great harmony. And above it all, the cherry trees stand, branches bare now, their blossoms sleeping in the soil. Soon they will return, reborn in the kindness of spring. But for now, they rest, patient, content, perfectly at peace in their stillness. You, too, are resting in your season of stillness. Nothing is missing. Nothing is wrong. This moment, this quiet, breathing now, is enough. If thoughts arise, let them come and go like passing clouds across a wide blue sky. They are not you. They are weather. You are the space that holds them, vast, open, infinite. Let that spaciousness expand inside you. Feel it behind the chest, behind the eyes, behind the gentle hum of your thoughts. There is no edge to it, no border. Just presence, soft, endless, awake. If you listen closely, you might hear the heartbeat of the earth itself, slow, deep, patient. It beats with yours. The rhythm of your breath matches the rhythm of the world. The two are not separate. They never were. In this unity, all fear melts away. There is no past to regret, no future to reach. Only this tender, shimmering now, where every breath is a beginning. Let the breath grow even slower. Let the body grow heavy and warm. The mind floats, light and wide as sky. You are the mountain and the mist that wraps around it. You are the wave and the ocean it returns to. You are the moment smiling among falling petals. The abbot's voice fades into wind. The temple grows distant. The river hums quietly beneath your dreams. The petals, the dawn, the monks, the garden, all dissolve into one vast, gentle stillness. There is no story now, no listener, no teller. Only the breath, in and out, the soft sound of life continuing. Peace is here. Peace has always been here. You are floating in it. You are it. Let the breath carry you deeper now, beyond words, beyond thought, beyond even sleep, into the boundless luminous calm that watches all things rise and fall with infinite compassion. The world will care for itself. You need only rest. Among falling petals, the moment smiles. And you, dear one, smile with it, even as you drift into the quiet dream where everything is whole and nothing is lost. The night folds itself around you like a soft, endless robe of velvet. The last echoes of the story fade into silence, and yet the silence itself feels alive, pulsing, breathing, full of something vast and kind. You are floating now, weightless, without boundary or thought. The rhythm of your breath merges with the rhythm of the world, and the line between you and everything else has disappeared. Somewhere, beyond the edges of dreams, the petals are still falling, slow, graceful, eternal. They drift across mountains and rivers, over rooftops and temples, through the endless corridors of time. Each petal carries a whisper, a memory of stillness, a lesson of surrender. You can feel them brushing across your skin, cool as moonlight, warm as kindness. You might begin to sense that every breath you take is another petal falling, each inhale gathering the beauty of the moment, each exhale releasing it into the great quiet. And as the petals fall, they leave behind a trail of peace so deep it hums through the air like the echo of a temple bell. In the distance, the ocean breathes. Its waves move in and out, the oldest lullaby in existence. The sea has known every joy and every sorrow. It has held the sky and the storm, the ships and the stars. Yet it remains untroubled, returning always to its calm. You too are that ocean, vast, still, and unbroken beneath the passing waves of thought. Let the waves move through you. Let them rise and fall, until only the rhythm remains. You no longer need to name the sensations, only to feel them as the world feels the sun. There is a story, almost forgotten, that drifts like mist through the valleys of Zen. It is said that long ago, there was a monk who spent his life searching for enlightenment. He meditated through storms, fasted beneath waterfalls, and wandered across mountains. But peace always seemed just out of reach, like a dream fading when he tried to hold it. One day, exhausted, he lay down beside a stream and fell asleep. In his dream, he saw petals falling, endless, beautiful, each one reflecting the light of a sun he could not see. When he awoke, a single petal rested upon his chest. The stream murmured beside him, and in that soft sound, he realized, nothing needed to be reached. It was already here. He smiled, closed his eyes again, and whispered, "I have found it, the peace that never leaves." From that day, he stopped searching. He walked slowly. He spoke gently. He smiled often. And wherever he went, petals seemed to fall, even when no flowers were near. Perhaps they fall for you now too, unseen but felt. The quiet grace of the present moment unfolding itself, petal by petal, breath by breath. You can rest in that same peace. You do not need to seek it. It has already found you. It flows in the gentle pulse beneath your skin, in the warmth that spreads through your hands, in the tender rhythm of your heartbeat. It whispers, "You are safe. You are enough. You are whole." The world outside drifts further away now, the distant hum of night, the faint scent of rain, the slow turning of the earth beneath the stars. Everything continues, just as it should. You do not have to guide it. The universe knows its way. Imagine now that the petals become stars, each one glowing softly, rising from the ground into the endless night sky. The petals you watched fall are becoming constellations above you, lighting the heavens with the memory of peace. They form patterns that need no meaning, shapes that ask for nothing but your stillness. The stars shimmer, and their light touches your closed eyes. You can feel it, cool and eternal. It is the same light that shines through the heart of every being, the light that asks for no name, the light that simply is. Let yourself drift deeper into that light now. It does not dazzle, it soothes. It does not pull you forward, it invites you home. It whispers through the quiet places of your being, saying, "Rest here. There is nowhere else to be." Your body feels lighter now, the edges soft, almost dissolving. You are not inside the story anymore. You are part of the stillness that gives it life. You are the pause between each breath, the quiet between each thought, the space between each falling petal. This space is infinite. It is kind. It holds you without needing to hold. If you listen closely, you might hear the laughter of the old abbot somewhere in the distance. Soft, gentle, full of compassion. His voice drifts through the air like incense smoke, saying, "Even the stars fall one day, and when they do, the universe will smile." You smile too, though you may not realize it. The muscles soften, the breath deepens, and a warmth spreads through the chest. You feel yourself melting into the very fabric of peace. There is no need to resist. There is no need to wake. The world will continue its gentle dance, and when it is time, you will open your eyes to another dawn. But for now, you can drift, safe, free, weightless. Among falling petals, the moment smiles. Let that smile become your breath. Let it become your dream. You are floating now, carried by something vast and tender. Call it silence, call it love, call it life. It carries you beyond even sleep, into a stillness that has no end. The night deepens, and the air becomes even softer, like a sigh released from the heart of the universe. The petals that once fell through the daylight now drift through moonlight, their edges shimmering faintly as they descend. You can almost hear them, whispering in the hush between breaths, a language too gentle for words. It says, "All things return. All things change. All things are safe within the stillness of now." The ground beneath you feels alive, cool, welcoming, steady as the pulse of the earth. Beneath that, roots weave in silent harmony, carrying the memory of rain and sunlight, of seasons long past and yet still living. You realize that even the roots are not holding. They are simply being, stretching and curling in the rhythm of their own surrender. Somewhere nearby, a small stream glimmers beneath the moon. The water moves slowly, its surface catching fragments of starlight. You can see your reflection in the ripples, though it shifts and bends with each passing wave. The reflection smiles back, not because it needs to, but because it cannot help it. It is the smile of peace that comes when all resistance fades away. You sit by the stream in this quiet dreamscape, listening to the sound of the current, a sound that is both constant and changing, both here and gone. And you understand without thought that this is what life has always been, a stream of moments, each dissolving into the next. In the old Zen texts, they speak of this stream as mujo, impermanence. The great teacher Dogen wrote, "Impermanence is the Buddha nature itself." That is, change is not something to fear, it is the living pulse of awakening. You begin to see it now, how every ending is a beginning hidden inside outstretched hands, how every falling petal nourishes the soil for new blossoms to come. As you watch the stream, a small figure appears, a child in simple robes, carrying a paper lantern. The child kneels by the water, dips a hand into the current, and lets the lantern drift away. Its glow reflects across the surface, golden and soft, joining the stars above. You watch in silence. After a moment, you ask gently, "Why do you release the light into the water?" The child looks up and smiles. "Because the river knows where to carry it." You feel the words settle deep within you. You do not need to guide everything, to hold every light, every answer. The river of life is already flowing. You only need to trust where it goes. The lantern drifts farther and farther, a small star floating toward the horizon. It joins others that have been released, hundreds of little lights glowing in the dark. The child's face shines faintly with the reflection, eyes calm and full of wonder. The moment lingers, then fades. You are alone again, but the peace remains. The sound of water continues, endless, unbroken. It begins to merge with the rhythm of your breathing, until you cannot tell which is which, the river, or the breath, or the quiet that holds them both. There is another story, rising now like mist from the valley of memory. It is said that there once lived a gardener who tried to keep every leaf from falling in autumn. Each day, he swept the paths, tied the branches, and covered the trees with nets. Yet no matter how carefully he worked, the leaves continued to fall, one by one, until the ground shimmered gold and red beneath his feet. At last, exhausted, the gardener sat down beneath the trees. As he watched the final leaves drift to the earth, a thought came to him, not from effort, but from stillness. Perhaps the beauty was not in keeping them, but in watching them fall. And so, the gardener stopped sweeping. He let the wind move freely through the orchard. The next morning, he found the ground covered in a carpet of light. So beautiful, he laughed aloud. The laughter echoed through the branches, and for the first time, he felt the peace that comes when we no longer try to make the world still. You feel this same laughter rising quietly within you now. Not loud, not forced, just a soft ripple of warmth. It spreads through your chest, through your limbs, until even your fingers seem to hum with life. There is joy in this surrender. There is beauty in the letting go. The petals continue to fall. The night deepens further, though you no longer measure it by hours or moments. Time itself seems to have dissolved into the rhythm of your breath. You are lying in the center of everything, and everything is lying gently within you. The wind moves once more through the bamboo grove, making a sound like 1,000 whispers breathing in unison. It is the sound of the world exhaling. You join it, slow, gentle, natural. Breathe in, and feel the cool night air flow through you. Breathe out, and let the last remnants of worry drift away. Each breath polishes the heart until it shines clear as water. Now, a pale light begins to bloom beyond the mountains. It is not yet dawn, only the promise of it, faint and far away. The moon lowers toward the horizon, her reflection melting into the stream. The world feels endless and kind, as though holding its breath with you. You close your eyes, and the vision of petals continues within. They fall in slow motion, each one carrying a small truth. Everything changes, and that is why it is beautiful. The petals fall through your dreams now, through forests and temples, through oceans and skies, through every place you have ever loved. They fall across memories, softening their edges, turning every sorrow into a sigh of understanding. You are not falling asleep anymore. You are falling into life, into the spaciousness that rests beneath all things. This is the deep sleep of awareness, the stillness of a mind that has stopped trying to swim against the current. You are drifting, gently, endlessly. And as you drift, you smile, because somewhere among falling petals, the moment smiles back. Sleep deeper now. The earth holds you. The stars watch over you. The river hums your name in silence. All is well. All has always been well. You are peace, breathing itself. Full moon.